My name is Ragnar Axelsson, and I've been photographing in the Arctic for nearly 40 years, and I think it's, the reason I do this is I think it's going to be the biggest issue on the planet in coming years, because it's melting so fast and it's changing so fast. Life of people is changing, and the hunters community, like we have here in Greenland, and I photographed a book. I did a book called Arctic Heroes, and it's mainly about the dogs and the hunters. And I got stories from the hunters, beautiful stories, how the dog took you home when everything was over, and it has kept them alive for thousands of years. And without the Greenlandic sled dog, there wouldn't be any Inuits, actually. So, and I traveled with the hunters. I think it's important to go to places and stay with people and photograph their kind of life, which is disappearing in a way in some cases. Some villages have gone down, and I'm doing a book about all 8 Arctic countries now, traveling, and I was going to Siberia, and I had to quit 2 days before the war broke out, so I went to Greenland, and I photographed one man in a village called Cap Hope, and I want to give them a voice, and I want to hear their stories and write it down. It adds something to the photographs, I think. And it was Jens Emil. He was last man in the village of Cap Hope, and he had 20 brothers and sisters, and 2 of them left. He had 4 wives. They're all dead, and he sees ghosts, and he's afraid of them. He's terrified of them, and he was leaving for the last time, going to hospital, and I photographed him. I went there with him when he was leaving, and I photographed when he looked back for the last time and said, "There's no hope in Cap Hope anymore." And it gives a little glimpse of a changing way of life in the Arctic, and in all Arctic countries, like also in Siberia, where I was photographing the Nenets, reindeer herders, and Siberia, and in the springtime they had to kill 250,000 reindeers because of a virus coming up from the tundra, melting or thawing tundra. So I think it's important to document this kind of life to show the world. It supports scientists. I'm not preaching about. We all know that it's warming up. Our planet is warming up, and the climate is changing, and our planet is in that phase. But I leave it to scientists to tell us and warn us. But I want to support with showing life that is changing, and they have to have a chance in the Arctic region. So this is just a glimpse of that kind of life, the dogs. And I usually go out when the weather is bad. It's in storms, because that's the most rewarding photographs. And I think it's great for everybody going, and there's a lot of photographers going to Greenland and photographing icebergs. It's great. It's beautiful. But I think it's rather easy sail around in a rubber boat around an iceberg and go back home. You have to stay and photograph the people and give them a voice. And in the bad weather, it shows how it is to live in those conditions at its worst. My hands I have no feelings in my thumb. It froze 3 years ago, and my hands have been freezing many times. But I don't mind. I don't have to wash dishes at home anymore because I break them all. So I think it's important to do this like that. And thank you for coming.